sold in 1995, and in about 1999, the composer Stephen Schwartz, having found out that the movie of Wicked was sort of stalled in Hollywood, came to see me. The producer of the movie and the musical eventually, Mark Platt, said, well, if this is going to be a play, you're going to have to convince Gregory Maguire, because he's the one who has the rights and he can make the decision. So Stephen Schwartz, whose work I well knew from Pippin and Godspell, came to visit me at an undisclosed location in Connecticut, and we went for a walk in the woods. Now, I have virtue of some of my grandparents, a sort of Scottish Presbyterian natural look of disapproval, which serves me usefully at times. And I wanted to hear about this, but I didn't want to be a bunny rabbit about it. I wanted to, pay attention. So Stephen said, now look, I know you want this to be a big budget, $100 million film. But, he said, there are some reasons it would make a better play, and it would hit more people as a play. And I said, yes, please enumerate those reasons for me, Stephen. And he said, the truth is, your book is like a 19th century novel by Dickens or Tolstoy. It's filled with huge pre-Freudian emotions. Elphaba has huge sets of feelings. And if it's a movie, he said, people will have to deduce Elphaba's feelings by the art of her acting. And ever since, the method in the 1950s, the art of acting in American cinema is generally toned down and recessive. He said, Elphaba is not a recessive person. He said, but your story might be crippled a little bit. Even if the great computer graphics can make Oz look wonderful, it still will not give Elphaba the best platform on which to speak. He said, on the other hand, imagine if Elphaba, our angel, can walk to the front of the stage with music coming up underneath and can sing the passions of her heart like a Shakespearean soliloquy, can actually say everything that's in her mind alone, and with 1,700 people, but alone, effectively, but they will be spoken. He said, imagine how strong that will be. Well, in my heart of hearts, although I looked, kind of glum, really, I was thinking, let's not low. Broadway! It worked for me, quite seriously, but I said yes, well, tell me more, Stephen. And he began to get nervous. Sweat began to roll out, and he said, I'm so convinced that you're going to see the brightness of my ways. He said, I need to remind you that the reason the film hasn't worked yet, film scripts, is that everybody in America, ever since 1939, knows that the people in Oz sing. And I said, well, yes, I knew that too. And Elphaba could sing before she got to Broadway. She sings in Wicked. She sings a song at a funeral, which, if you read the text closely, you can tell must be her version of Over the Rainbow, where any place else for her would be better than Oz. She sings a number of times, and that was intentional, because I had thought that if Margaret Hamilton had been given the chance to speak her motivations, we might not have been so scared of her in the 1939 film. I mean, everybody else had a chance to sing If I Only Had, if I only had a heart, or brains, or courage, or a ticket to Kansas, if I only had a scotch, if I only had a microphone, if I only had a backup orchestra, if I only had a moment in the follow spot. I mean, Elphaba might have been able to persuade us early on, or the Wicked Witch might have, but she didn't, and so I made sure that she could sing in the book. That was very important. She could sing, but she didn't have a voice. So I said, I understand that, and tell me more, Stephen. And then he really began to get nervous, and his final argument was, he said, I'm so convinced that you are going to see the rightness of this idea that I will admit to you that I've already written the first song. Now, Stephen denies the story after my class, because it's never happened. But I remember it, and I'm sure it's in my journal. He said, I said, what is the first song going to be? He described a way that the show would open, very, very close to how it does open. And he said, everybody will be singing a song called No One Mourns the Wicked. And with those 5 words, he clinched the deal. Because with those 5 words, he convinced me that he knew the important thing in my story, and the reason I had written it, was not Oz, it was not even the plot. It was the ideas that had motivated the plot. That it is important not to rush to judgment. It is important to teach oneself to tolerate ambiguity, because we are all mysteries to ourselves, and even more are we mysteries to one another. So with that, with those 5 words, he clinched the deal, although I didn't tell him for about a year until the contract was finished negotiated. And then the play took off. The book, which had been selling very well, thank you, before the play, took off even more. And I'm just going to give you a little paragraph of a scene to lead into the next song.